This takes me back to Jump Festa 2020 when Oda said that a red-haired pirate would make a move. Ever since then, in that year, we did not see Shanks at all, right? No red-haired pirate really made a move. The year after that, Shanks finally started to make a move. And ever since then, we saw Shanks pulling up to Wano. We saw Shanks saying he's going after the One Piece. We saw Shanks being Uber for Marco. And now we're seeing Shanks in Elbaf and he's about to face off against Kid. We've seen Shanks over the past couple years more than we saw him the previous 20. That's how much Oda has been giving us Shanks. And we can't forget about Film Red. It's interesting, right? Because again, Oda's Jump Festa message talked about a red-haired pirate making his move. And now we have two red-haired pirates with one arm facing off. It seems like from the jump, Shanks and Kid, they were destined to meet. Even Shanks somewhat hinted that it was fortuitous where he was about to leave, but because he ran into old friends, he stayed longer than he normally would have. It's like it's meant to happen. So this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Surfshark, which is a virtual private network, is an award-winning VPN. You may think it's something you probably don't need or you don't understand what a VPN does or how it works. Well, I'll break it down for you. A VPN is your own private network that you can use to protect your information while streaming, shopping, or just casually browsing the internet. It's funny because incognito mode to some people is very secure, but fun fact, all it means is that your browser doesn't save cookies. Your ISP can still track your activity and collect your data. It also does not stop websites from seeing your location. Yeah, crazy, right? With Surfshark VPN, it blocks ads, trackers, malware, and even phishing attempts from users trying to steal your information. You can use Surfshark to protect yourself, and you can do all this with one account, because one account covers unlimited household devices. So to start browsing safely, click the link below, use code B.D.A for 83% off and 3 extra months free. Yeah, I get it. Knowing you're exposed is terrifying, but use my link and protect yourself and sign up for Surfshark. I think even the fact that Kid went after Shanks initially, which makes the most sense considering Shanks was the newest Yonko, had the lowest bounty, seemed the most human out of the others that were available. Come on, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido. I'm probably going after the short red-haired man as well. Little did he know the red-haired man could have been the most powerful at the time. At least it's debatable. The one he should have probably went after was Whitebeard, which is crazy in its own right, considering the massive fleet that Whitebeard had. But Shanks went on Whitebeard's ship and he was knocking dudes out left and right like, yo, I'm here. He did disrespect him by sending Rockstar at the beginning, but either way, the whole point is we're here now. Shanks versus Kid, or the redhead pirates versus the Kid pirates. Now, before we continue, I went back, right? Because 2.5 years ago, I made a video called The Monstrous Expectations of Ben Beckman. And I wanted to see how I felt about Ben Beckman back then in comparison to how I feel about him now. Not much has changed because we haven't seen anything from him, and I still hold firm on him being the strongest commander currently in the series because he's reminiscent to Rayleigh and Roger and Zoro and Luffy and funny enough, Kid and Killer. And so I went back and guys, this is what I said back in 2020. I don't know. You tell me what you think about this. We know about Kid and him losing his arm to the red-haired pirates. People speculate that the monkey did it. I don't think the monkey did it. It wouldn't be crazy to me if Ben Beckman did it, right? Because Ben Beckman, he normally takes care of the problems, while Shanks is normally cheerful and just, happy-go-lucky. Now, I'm not going to rule out the fact that Shanks could have done it, but wouldn't be crazy if it was Benny. Yeah, so that happened, and in this recent chapter, it pretty much confirms that Ben Beckman was the person who took Kid's arm. For some people, it wasn't as clear, so I'm going to clarify it here again. In the panel where we see Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, and Yasop, and Ben Beckman says that the enemy is going to be pissed at Shanks for keeping them waiting. Lucky Roo laughs at Ben Beckman and says he can't really talk. Because why does he think the only person that they're going to be mad at is Shanks? Which heavily implies that the person that actually took Kid's arm was none other than Ben Beckman. And then even them confirming that they did not even see Shanks the last time they interacted, it leads me to believe that Ben Beckman was the culprit. Now, the whole purpose of this is to set the stage. What could possibly happen? What is going to happen? And what do we want to happen? First thing is a subscribe button, all right? That's the first thing we're gonna do to set the stage, okay? Subscribe to the channel, look down, make sure you are subscribed. Sometimes you watch a few videos, then realize, do that real quick. And now, let's set the stage. What's most likely to happen? Well, based off of what's going on right now, what's most likely to happen is, well, Kid gets overwhelmed. Why? Shanks is there with pretty much his entire fleet. When the Kid Pirates are pulling up, we see all the ships on the horizon and he says they're all his, and he mentions that all of them seems like a big shot. So they're sworn to Shanks and they're pretty much big shots. So Shanks has his entire fleet, but not only that, he just asked for help from the Giants, from Dory and Brogy, our boys. I did not mention it in my review. I'm so sorry, guys. I got sidetracked by Shanks. You must forgive me considering it's Shanks, okay? Shanks is about to fight Kid. Kid should get overwhelmed. Kid is there with his core crew, but they have leveled up. Either way, it should be one-sided, but it feels different now. Now, people have been throwing around the idea of a Davy back. I don't know, that's an option, but more than likely, Kid is going to be overwhelmed rather easily by Shanks, or based on the setup considering what's going on. Unless Kid is the second coming of Gold Roger and some freaking lightning bolt strikes down half of the fleets, it should be rather easy. Now, Kid does have crazy AoE with his Devil Fruit, so he could take out ships rather easily, and they could be much ado about nothing. Also, Kid does have the potential to unlock abilities that could knock out other opponents. Now, I'm not saying that Kid is going to unlock Conqueror's Haki that's going to knock out big shot pirates in the New World, but it could knock out fodder because Conqueror's Haki for the most part initially was fodder control. You've never seen Kid use Conqueror's Haki, I guess, in the manga. But if there was a time for Kid to level up, now is the freaking time. You have Conqueror's Haki. You have the potential to unlock Conqueror's Haki coding. Kid is currently one of the big shot pirates in the New World, in the One Piece world. Period. He has a 3 billion berry bounty, and he just took down Big Mom and is responsible as well in helping to take down Kaido. He has a lot of cachet. That's why Shanks is taking it more seriously, where he's not just sending out Ben Beckman and the crew again. He's asking for help from the Elbaf Giants because he's taking Kid seriously, as I think he should. What do we want to happen? What I would like to happen is Kid put up an actual good fight where he's not completely overwhelmed, even in the face of everything pretty much not in his favor. I would like him to put on a good fight. Take out all those allied ships, get past everyone, and get a fight with Shanks. I'm not saying you beat Shanks. You land a hit on Shanks. That is a big W considering the odds that are stacked against you. Killer, you have an opportunity as well to scale this top 30 list. If you show out against Ben Beckman, who a lot of people regard as the strongest current commander in the story, Killer will scale the list very well. Again, every single one of these guys have leveled up. I know Heat and Wire does not get a lot of credit considering they haven't been shown as much, but they were putting in work in Wano, in Onigashima as well, and they've been named for a long time. So we saw how impressive Law's crew was against Blackbeard. I expect Heat and Wire to show out as well, and for us to say, huh, they're much better than I thought. Now, let's think about the narrative really quickly. Kid has gone up against Shanks before. He lost an arm. He didn't even see Shanks. Why would Oda put Kid in front of Shanks again? Why would he draw the short straw again? Now, I don't think he's in the worst position considering that Law is facing off against Blackbeard, and well, Shanks, he seems to show mercy. Even as diabolical as he can be, or he seems to be, he showed mercy on Kid. He didn't even face him. Kid got his arm cut off and got sent packing. With Blackbeard and Law, I would not want to face Blackbeard as a pirate. Considering the last time Blackbeard faced off against a hotshot pirate, he took him to the Marines and he got a bounty for him, and then he became a warlord, okay? Blackbeard is not somebody that messes around. Of course, in this situation, I think Law is okay, but something I teased in my review is the fact that Law can lose while Kid cannot. The circumstances are similar, kinda. For one, Blackbeard was waiting for Law, or for anyone, but Law happened to come along. Shanks was not waiting for anyone, but Kid happened to come along. Blackbeard wanted to smoke, Shanks was just chilling. But in this situation, right, Blackbeard does not have his entire fleet. He has some of his crew, not even the strongest members, but he's prepared for battle. Shanks has an entire fleet, his entire crew, and all Kid has are his core members. The difference in why Law can lose, even though the situation is much more favorable, is because of who Law has on the back end. Monkey, D, Luffy, and also Law's goal. Law's goal is not to become the Pirate King. Law's goal is to find out more about the history, the will of D. And even with Law not having any poneglyphs, without having his ticket to Laugh Tale, Law has a ticket there already with the Straw Hats. For the longest, we've been calling Law the honorary Straw Hat, considering how good he is with the Straw Hats and how him and Luffy and everyone else pretty much gets along. Kid doesn't have that luxury. First of all, Kid's personality is super against that. Secondly, we saw how difficult it was for him to work with anyone in Wano. Of course, at that point, he did succumb to it because he pretty much had to. In this situation, I don't see Kid hanging on to Luffy saying, hey, let me follow you on your ship to see what's going on. No, Kid wants to become the Pirate King as well. Kid wants to conquer the world. He has to do it on his own accord, and he would not allow himself to be a hanger-on like Law would. So even though Law is in a much more favorable circumstance, I think he loses. For Kid, he has more to prove than Law. I think a lot of people looked at Law versus Big Mom or Law and Kid versus Big Mom, and they say Law carried Kid. That's what people will say. Even though Kid more than held his own in that fight, I think people are still looking for Kid to show more. Well, considering that he has Conqueror's Haki and never showed it, considering the mouthpiece that he has where he talks a lot of smack, but in a lot of people's eyes doesn't back it up, we also have to take into consideration the fact that people have been putting Kid on Luffy's level for a long time. I may have been guilty of that in the past, but I was wrong. Either way, there's some expectations still there. But here's the twist. There are a lot more people rooting for Kid now than ever before. At first, I didn't understand it. Then after talking to people, I think I see why. Shanks is the ultimate hype beast. He's the most hyped character in the story other than Zoro. At first, Odin did have some hype, but he made him take an L. Shanks has exquisite hype. In Marineford, Blackbeard was on a power high. He was saying, it is my era, it is my age. Fight me, Sengoku, fight me, Garp. I don't care if Whitebeard is still here. Fight me, I don't care. Shanks pulled up, he said, you know what? Then again, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for those guys. You did say the same to Akainu, but we know that Akainu hype, you know how that is. We saw what Shanks did to Green Bull, all right? You guys know I'm an Admiral guy. I defend the Admirals. There's no defense of that. He Wi-Fi hockeyed Green Bull out of there. Green Bull said, you know what? I can come back another time. Shanks is hype. I think that's rubbing fans the wrong way, where some of the fans are getting to the point where they're like, okay, you guys hype Shanks to all hell, even in Film Red. And so now they're like, okay, Kid has taken so many L's, which I don't think he's taken L's. He just hasn't lived up to expectation. He's taken L's, right? But they're honorable L's. They're beastly L's, because all the L's that Kid has taken, any other person in his class would have taken those L's as well. Even Luffy. We saw what happened to Luffy when he pulled up to Wano. Kaido one-shot him. People are feeling somewhat sorry for Kid, but also looking at the narrative saying, well, would Oda put Kid in front of Shanks again to get bodied? It feels ridiculous, and so it probably is. And again, Kid put Big Mom in a quandary. A Kid video is coming because I think Kid needs some hype. And so I'm gonna put a video together showing just how impressive Kid has been. And I think you might agree with me. Kid has been a pretty impressive pirate. One may argue even more than Law, but we'll talk about it. But guys, give me your thoughts. What happens? Are we gonna come back after the break week and say, yo, we were tripping to think Kid has a chance against Shanks? Or are we gonna say, yo, we were tripping to think Kid is actually trash? I don't think the majority thinks that anymore, but guys, let me know. How do you feel about it? Make sure to like the video. If you did, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAs. Follow me on Instagram, BragoD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to my members. I appreciate you guys oh so much. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.